We'll record it for those that want to catch us up and see what we're up to. But welcome all and welcome back to 2021, and I pay my respects to our Aboriginal ancestors, past, present, and emerging, on which the lands that we meet today, and Warramie from here in Darug land. So look, I think generically, I wanted to update you on some of the stuff that was in my inbox on returning from a week away, but also let everyone know about the wonderful work that our risk management and incident response team did between Christmas and New Year. And we're lucky enough to have two of them, the two Davids, with us today. Sad times when we lose some of our activity people in an incident, but look, I was just so proud with our committee and the way that they come together and support the organisation that was affected by the incident. So I wanted to say thank you to you guys for just being there and being the voice that they needed, and supportive in what they needed to do in that very short time that they had to react and deal with it. So thank you. And I hope that our experience with that doesn't really need to be brought out that often, but when it does, I can certainly say that we've got the skills and the expertise in our group to help when needed. You might have read the newsletter that went out this week. So there's a few updates on there, which I'll just reiterate. I won't go into the COVID details because I think nothing's really changed in the last few weeks. But if anyone has any questions relating to COVID restrictions or plans, let me know and I will certainly help you with that. But the links on the newsletter this week had all the relevant contacts for you that you needed. I was really pleased to see Destination New South Wales' new visitor strategy that came out and how it made mention of outdoor adventure. So I'm really looking forward to touching base with them in the next few weeks and seeing how we can maximise that and work with them on that strategy. A PhD student who works at ACT Health has instigated their PhD project in outdoor classrooms. So we're really supportive of this, and any of the ACT students can actually be part of this and say what makes the best schoolyard for outdoor education. So I'm looking forward to the results on this one, but the links were in the newsletter. So if you have any people that you're dealing with in the ACT, either schools or students, please send it out amongst them and get them involved in the project. And the last one there was the Early Childhood Conference, which Victoria has extended to our states. It's online on the Friday. There is workshops on the Saturday and Sunday. So if you can get to Victoria and want to partake, you certainly can do so. But we can jump online on the Friday, which I've certainly registered for. And it's looking at nature play and the pedagogy around early childhood, outdoor education. So yeah, really, really good stuff there. Any questions on any of that before I jump into the year before us? No? Oh, good. Okay, fabulous. So this year ahead is certainly going to be a busy one already. As I said, I literally landed Sunday night, checked all the emails and went, oh my Lord, here we go. So we're in the depths of our final planning of getting our strategic plan approved. And at the next board meeting, we're hoping that's going to happen. I can then talk to you more about that, but really great stuff in our strategic plan for this year, and seeing some of the conversations that were happening over Facebook and that during Christmas and New Year, I can see that we're certainly heading in the right direction. This year is obviously a big year for recovery, and I really want feedback from yourselves on how that's looking for you. The border closures has certainly been one that has been an issue for, if not all of us, majority of us. And particularly the uncertainty of programming, uncertainty of even the tourism side, the adventure tourism side. But it's going to continue to be problematic now that this is a challenge that we never really foresaw probably a year ago. So I'd really be keen to hear from you if that is affecting you and anything that you're doing around that space. Public policy is going to be a big one in the recovery as well. And what do we need to do, or who do we need to talk to about changing some of that public policy to make sure that we recover and we recover well? And then the priorities of the industry, I'd really like to also understand from yourselves on even your individual business or your individual activity, what are the priorities that as we enter 2021, what's on your agenda, so that I can make sure that, you know, I've got the mapping to where we can support you in that. And the only other thing I was going to mention today is there's lots of grants out there. And I think there's a certain amount that are available for businesses. There's a certain amount that are available for not-for-profits and charities. So if you've got project ideas where you think that it could be warranted to get some grant funding, please reach out to us, because I have a daily list that's sent to me about the grants that are on offer. And now's the time to really maximise that investment in potential infrastructure as well as projects. And to give you an idea, even yesterday, Crown Lands came out with an announcement on millions of dollars that they're putting into infrastructure improvements in Crown Land. So if you're dealing with a facility or a service on Crown Land, now's the time we need to jump in and talk to them about updating that facility or things that you need as a business to run your activities better. There's one example. National Parks is the other. So National Parks has now announced their full commitment to their infrastructure improvements following the bushfires. That came out this week as well. So again, if you've got ideas and things about what you want to see in some of the national parks you're working with, now's the time to let me know, and I'll certainly liaise with the team at National Parks. And I just wanted to allude to the masterclass. So the masterclass you might have seen late last year, we cemented for the 29th of March. It will be held in Canberra. All things going well with border closures, we should be able to run it and allow everyone in to do that. But it's looking amazing. We have a significant amount of development content. One in particular is around the AAAS and just checking where people are up to with the AAAS. That's more of a workshop. Definitely around marketing, some marketing updates on really what we need to look at in 2021. What's the trends? How do we get capture of the audience that we wanted to talk to? The one that I'm really excited about is Charlie Tyndall, who's going to be helping us look at Aboriginal content done well, respectful and also authentic. So building in our Aboriginal content in an interpretive sense, but also an activity sense. So yeah, looking fabulous. And there's also some items there on essential skills for the outdoors. So if you haven't already, please make sure you connect with me if you want to attend, because numbers are limited, and I think we're around about 70% capacity at the moment. So if you want to attend, it's free for members. So jump in and tell me if you want to attend, and I'll certainly put a seat aside for you. So that's pretty much it. Nice and short and sweet, but a lot of content there. But yeah, today's discussion is really around what are your priorities for 2021? Where do you see your organisation and activities going? And where do you see some of the challenges that you might come up against? So look, I'll open the floor, take yourselves off mute and jump in as needed and as you think of things, just spread them out, go for it. No one wants to go first.
I'll jump in there with, you hit it on the nail on the head with border closures. So our program, our Year 12 program actually ducks into Victoria because we're rafting on the river down there. Right. One of our campsites is in Victoria week after next. Wonderful. So, I mean, that just adds a layer of complexity, but it's also getting our instructors from Victoria for some of the activities that we do. So we're quite reliant. So we work with the Outdoor Education Group, and we're quite reliant on getting their instructors from Victoria. So that's a challenge. Yeah. And then one of our programs is in the Northern Territory. So, and we have to go via Queensland. So it kind of adds that. that complexity. And so I know New South Wales has been very good with the borders, but it is difficult. And I see that as one of our biggest challenges. Just with the ongoing uncertainty, it makes it hard to plan.
Yeah.
But otherwise, we're looking really positive. So I was really pleased when I started back on Monday, that the direction from the school executive was, no, we are going ahead with camps, which I was thinking when I got back, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to do plan and cancel again. So yeah, so we're looking good. We've added the masks to everyone traveling on buses now because they're coming out of Sydney. But yeah, otherwise we're looking like it's a good year.
Brilliant. I was really pleased to see that advice come out from Health 2 on term 1. That was great because it sort of gave us, again, reassurance, probably gave your executive reassurance, but I think, the fact that they've already considered everything in that space was great. So fabulous. Thanks, David. And just on the border closures, we've got an Outdoor Council of Australia meeting this next week. It's Friday, isn't it? Jeez. So next week, and we are discussing this and how we deal with it at the federal level. I think that the hard part, from what I can work out, is the federal government's hands are very tied in this. They don't have the authority to really do anything, but certainly the more noise we make, the more recognition is given to the restriction of trade, and that. I don't know whether that restriction of trade is justified anymore with the case numbers the way they are. So that's sort of where we're going in with that. Thank you. Thanks, David. And really great stuff, really positive. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Just a question, David. Are Sydneyites allowed into Victoria yet? I haven't checked actually. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't actually looked at that in the latest advice. Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think we're still they've turned it into the orange zone. So the traffic lights, it's still an orange zone. It's not a red zone.
So Sydney's gone to, I thought Sydney was still red.
No, we've got, it actually changed, I think, 2 days ago, Dave. So it was, there's 12 council areas that have gone orange. So that means that, yeah, they can't, I can't remember exactly what, I'll come back to you on it. I'll look it up and send it to you. But yeah, there's restrictions on those LGAs, but everyone else is fine.
Good. Yeah, I've had some people staying with me because you've got to register a location that you quarantine in.
Yep.
So I've had people using my house, friends from up in Port Macquarie, a couple other places, and they arrive at the airport or drive in, and then they've got to stay here. They test within 72 hours, but you test the second you get into Victoria by your entrance. And then all of them have been taking about 24 to 28 hours to get a green. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Goodness.
Yeah, on their test, and then they can just travel as they like. Then. Yeah.
So
as long as you don't have it.
Yeah, what happens if they're quarantining in your house? Do you have to stay away from them? What's the...
No, what it is, it reduces. They're not allowed out, right? Yep. And it reduces the number of contacts doing contacts and contacts. Yeah, So it's my understanding is it's only the person. It's not a full quarantine. It's it's isolation. I think, they just isolate at a place where the government knows they're isolating. Yeah. And they're not allowed. Once they get their test, they're not allowed to. It's within the 72 hours. So I assume you can do whatever you like for 72 hours, and then you have to have a test. It doesn't totally make sense. Yeah. But it is being done by public servants. So a privilege to any public servant.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
I think we just need to be aware that, particularly with the Victoria and the light system, that sort of stuff can change, within 24 hours. Yeah.
That's right.
I'm going to Blue Mountains with luck in the next week or after, and I'm just going to have my car full, pointed out the driveway, and ready to make a run for it. Yeah. I can live with 2 or 3 days in quarantine at this end. Yeah. But I don't want to be locked out of Victoria.
Yeah, that's right. You can quarantine at my house for 14 days if you wish.
Okay, all right, but that doesn't help me getting into Victoria.
No, it does help you getting back. Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll catch up with you when you heal.
Yeah, I'll talk to you about doing that. Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yep, awesome. So just while you've got the floor, did you want to talk about this year for you?
Yeah, I'm reorganising my business, as you do. I guess I'm also planning for what I would consider to be about a 40% chance of things turning pear-shaped, possibly in the wintertime. Yeah, if we muck up a national border and this new variation or one of those gets in, we could quite easily end up with a runaway issue, as happened in Victoria, in our runaway. And if that happens, of course, all borders are going to go snap. My spies tell me that the government planners, the Defence Department, and all those are really just saying it's a 40%. So I'd rather think it was a 60% chance that we won't have a problem.
Exactly.
But my planning is there. I'm also sort of rearranging my world so that it can operate in whatever the new world looks like, and I'm trying to sort of double guess that. I think we're going to have to charge more. We're going to have to. It's going to cost us a lot more to run.
Yes.
We're going to have to be very flexible with the way we do things. If we've got instructors coming from interstate and we suddenly lose them, how do we replace them? So there's a whole range of things that I won't bother with here. But that's, I guess, my business planning.
With losing instructors, I mean, do you see the main reason is being the borders, or what are the main areas that you're worried about?
I mean, look, there is a shortage of instructors, but I'm only a little business, and although I'm 4 short at the end of February, I mean, I'm paying $340 a day, and I can offer a week's work at $340 a day. I'm not going to have any problems getting people. What I would have an issue with is maybe getting people that I'm willing to employ. And I know the big companies are really having struggle with that. But I'm small enough that I can probably manage. It's the borders that are a problem. Like I'm thinking of flying an instructor down from Queensland, an army corporal that's worked for me before for caving, and she's a good hand. So if we're not allowed to bring her into how do I replace her? And she'd be running a whole program. So I've got to be sort of one of the things I'm doing is I'm not going to program myself or my business manager part-time into any school activity. So but that means that I'm paying for 2 extra people. We'd normally work in one of the activities, and that gives me 2 people that are flexible, to myself and Mercedes. But it also means that I've just added a whole layer of cost onto my activities, and I can't put the price up. Therefore, I will wear that out of my business in this occasion.
That's a very smart way of thinking, though, is pulling yourself out with Mercedes and having that flexibility.
I mean, that works for a little company like mine. If you're talking, the OEG, one person doesn't really count very much. So big organisations have a whole different raft of issues. But I guess we can only plan for our own.
Is it just a nod's fine if you don't want to talk to it, but is everyone experiencing shortages of staff? Not necessarily, maybe.
We're okay. However, I know that our provider is challenged by that because they usually get an intake of overseas staff at the start of each year, and then they do like an internship. And in my discussion with them the other day, they were saying that was quite challenging. I'm only just starting to do recruiting for my winter program as of next week, so I'll certainly see then. But that's also the fact of the matter with Thredbo is they're limited with the number of instructors that they're going to be able to get in because of the overseas issue as well. So it's not just the interstate, which is certainly challenging. And I can appreciate your comments, David. It's you've got to get the right staff, and if you can't get them, you don't really want to be running programs with staff that you don't know of their capabilities. But yeah, it adds an extra layer of complexity to it.
Kelly, are you seeing anything at sport?
I think we have a fairly stable workforce, and we probably need to do better at recruiting for when we need casuals. We were putting on those summer break programs, and I was coordinating the casual group leaders, and we just have a really limited list and people to access on. So we need to do a little bit better in that workforce planning and recruiting in the right places too. Yeah.
I must admit, it's something that is certainly not unique to our sector that I'm seeing. It's right across. Even the short break that I did take down to Jarvis Bay, I was shocked at how some of the towns were literally half closed. And just saying to them, like, this is the time where you should be making the money, because, you know, that's your peak time. And they literally said, well, we just don't have staff, so we have to close. We just can't operate. So it's, and then you look at the articles, I think it was in the Weekly Times, about the zucchinis and all of the other fruits that are blossoming because of all the rain, and they've had to bury them because there's no pickers. So they say it's worse than a flood, it's worse than drought, because you've got the fruit there, but you just can't get them to market. So yeah, it's, I think this is our new epidemic this year. It's in staffing. So keep me up to speed with any of the issues there, because I'll certainly be dealing with it as a peak body with who we need to. But thanks, David. That's awesome. Carol or Kelly, did you want to go next? Off you go, Kelly.
Off you go. Yeah. I guess we've got camps happening, and there's a lot of inquiries, and I'm not directly involved in that side of planning and organisation, but just from hearing from my colleagues, it's just a lot of juggling with our reduced capacity because of COVID restrictions. Yeah, so there's schools want to come, and there's a lot of demand, but we are having difficulty with the capacity, and then predicting what's going to happen. Like I'm based in Jindabyne, and so we're trying to do winter planning. It's, well, do we plan with our 50% capacity, or can we do more, because that's when all the bookings are coming in now.
Yeah, that's right. And do you are you obviously working with the network of providers in Jindabyne to help with that capacity, or is that something that you can do?
I guess everyone in Jindabyne has their own stuff going on in winter, because that's that peak time. So they're specifically anyway. It's our own clients that we need to manage who we can and can't have.
Yeah. So we need that crystal ball again. Got it.
Yeah. Predicting the unknown future.
That's it. Any other challenges that you're seeing other than that? Not that that's enough.
I think that's the main one.
Yeah, cool. All right, that's fabulous. And Kara, what are you up to? Tell us.
Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Oh gosh, so yeah, I don't know if you guys know, I wear a few different hats. So I guess just to follow on, Laurie, from your comments, with a nod and thanks to the two Davids for their involvement in the incident earlier this year. So two hats for that for me is I look after SES Bush Search and Rescue for the Blue Mountains, but also I am a member of that club that was involved in that, and so I've been talking with President. Just my first question was, what kind of support are you getting? Do you feel supported? And he just couldn't speak highly enough of the support that you guys out in South Wales, and also Outdoors Queensland jumped in to help as well. So that was just that was my, because small community, just the most beautiful people in that club, really passionate, and to know that when crisis happens, that these big arms of support come around you to help you navigate through in areas of you know, just areas around even things that, you know, a little club might not think about. That was just like big thumbs up to you guys. Was just so yeah, huge kudos to you guys and to the organisation, to Outdoors New South Wales and ACT. Just absolutely.
Thanks for that feedback. It's really pleasing. I mean, he was very voicing of his thanks when we spoke with him, but I think, as I said before, the testament to these guys and their experience and expertise, just being so committed to helping, like you say, is just second to none.
Yeah. So that was just huge, massive thanks from me, with both my SES hat and my club member hat on. So yeah, I guess issues for some of those hats. So one hat is search and rescue, and so I'm in a recruitment phase for the Blue Mountains at the moment. So at the moment, I think I have about 40 members just in our area. So I look after everything west of the Nepean River. Okay. And we just do rugged and remote search. So we don't do urban or bush searching where it's just like on tracks or a little bit off tracks. We sort of are in the really crappy, horrible stuff. And yeah, so I'm looking for people, and some of the people that have some of the skills we're after are guides. So I'm trying to tap into some of that guiding network up here. Yeah. And I guess we have a loose connection as well. Are you guys, David, are you involved in ASAR at all, or know much about those guys at Alpine Search and Rescue?
Is that which David?
Oh, sorry, David Gregory. David Gregory.
I think one's Victoria, one's New South Wales. They're probably both involved somehow.
No, so we just work with Thredbo Ski Patrol for our programs, and we don't do backcountry work. And yeah, so we're just all in resort.
Right. Okay. Cool. So I guess, I mean, I haven't spoke to them recently, but they might also be in a similar way, in that they're always on the lookout for people who have the skills. And guides are great, because if most guides are casual, and even though they're not available on weekends because they may be running programs, that's actually okay, because most of our jobs and call outs come early in the week, Mondays, Tuesdays, because after people get themselves, you know, into a bit of bother on the weekend, we usually get the jobs on the Mondays or the Tuesdays or the Wednesdays. Yeah. So if you know of people in the Blue Mountains or west, so like I said, Nepean west to Broken Hill, like, you know, happy to hear from people. So that's one thing I'm trying to get, and looking for people like good by helicopter, with, you know, totally self-sufficient and with a great attitude, who doesn't mind the shitty stuff on the ground, and, you know,
so Cara,
crawling through the bush.
You said west of Nepean. You actually mean to the border?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. You know what's kind of cool is that not many people, there's not a lot of places west of the Divide where it's a bit hard to search for people. Yeah. So there's pockets, you know, you've got, you know, Warrumbungles or, you know, other areas, but, you know, in the flat plains, it's a bit easier to find people than in deep wilderness, in, you know, mangroves. So that's that.
Just the other thing is, if you wanted to send me some info, I'll certainly put it out to the network on that. So
great.
Happy to help.
I've just got two there on that particular subject.
Mm-hmm.
It could be worth looking into the veteran support systems for particularly young men and women coming back from Afghanistan, post-traumatic stress disorder and all sorts of other things. A lot of those, particularly the combat types, would have all the skills you need, and they desperately need the things to do, fellowship, risks to take, teams to be a part of. Not all of them would be suitable, of course, but some might be, and that could be an area where you could look into those people coming out of the Defence Force, going into the civilian world, And many of them would certainly have the skills. You just have to be careful of the characteristics of the problems that the person might have.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Dave. I mean, we actually do have quite a few members of either, you know, previous military service or in the reserves, and I guess one of the challenges we have with that is the culture is so very different, and so sometimes to bring a culture adjustment, it can be a challenge. But no, that's a really good tip. Thank you for that. So I'll definitely look into that. And I guess with my other hat as Lots of Fresh Air is with the community and network I have. So some of your issues, like you mentioned, the shortage of guides, like if there's anything I can do in terms of putting out on social media messages around, you know, like if you've got, you know, things I can share to so whether that be about, you know, we're hiring guides or we're looking for this, or even I try and promote, you know, when Cert 3 and 4s have their intakes to try and get people coming into the system. Yeah, so please feel free to email me at hello@lotsoffreshair.com for that one. And happy to share those kind of things with my crowd. Yeah. And I guess just out of curiosity, did everyone see at some stage over the last month some sort of mention somewhere, whether it be on social media, about this?
No.
Is that news to? So Dave Gregory's giving a smile.
He's saying this.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that on the Duke of Ed forum. So I'm also head of Duke of Ed for my school, and so that was on a Duke of Ed forum. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, that's good to know. So I'm just so for Laurie and Callie, I've just before Christmas launched my first book, which is kind of exciting.
Oh, congratulations! That's fabulous.
Yeah. So the tagline is the art of traditional map and compass navigation in an Australian context, like really trying to Australianize and take away jargon and make learning map and compass really easy and straightforward for people, and take away, demystify the whole thing. Get that in the hands of the people who need it. And so there's been a lot. It's really interesting looking at the different people who've been, you know, some people have been in Scout. There's been some outdoor ed teachers within school buying it, and that kind of thing. And yeah, so I'm looking for ideas. I'm just about to start doing some here. So, but if there's, if you guys have ideas of places that might need that, or that could be a really handy resource, totally happy to chat, and definitely doing bulk discounts for groups and clubs and outs and all.
Yeah, fabulous. So, Dave, is the Duke of Ed program looking at using that? Is that what the forum was saying?
It was one of the Duke of Ed, one of the teachers from another school, basically just sharing it and saying, here's a really good resource for your programs. It's an interesting one because we just finished a Duke of Ed risk management training course over the past few weeks, and it could be a good dovetail in. So I'll talk with you separately from this forum. We don't cover the navigation. We only cover the risk side, but we want to basically direct people to go, okay, now we need to learn how to navigate. Now we need to recruit a canoeing instructor. Now we need to do this. Now that we realise that we can't do all of this ourselves without training. I'll chat with you afterwards.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing, Cara. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I guess the other hat is just a COVID thing. So my normal client base with my day job, which is making videos and stuff, is my main client was a cruise ship company. Just put it out.
Not a good sector to be working with at the moment, right?
Yeah, so yeah, that's actually kind of partially why, you know, the book pivot kind of thing came about. So, but that's been actually a bit of a nice thing, is that I've started to work with outdoor organisations and potentially just doing a bit of work with parks as well. So that's just a bit of a celebration, a bit of happy days. But yeah, no, that's it.
Great. Now, what's the product that you do? What you did with the cruise ship that you're now looking at doing with the outdoor sector? Is it compilation of video content for marketing, or what's the?
Yeah. So for about 18 years, just one of my clients. I've been a video producer for about 20 years, but for 18 years of it, a lot of it's been for P&O and Princess Cruises. Mm-hmm. Princess Cruises. So that's creating. Advertising and marketing, and still shoots for brochures. So I've just worked, done quite a bit of work with Outward Bound just before Christmas, which was really nice, I've got to say, to be working with in a space that's connected to much more connected to what's important values wise than I'm not a cruise ship person at all. They were just just creating all that kind of stuff. And this is not me scouting for business, because I kind of try and slow down a bit and do less of 70-hour weeks. But yeah, it was just a nice little step away.
Good. And thank you for sharing, because you never know what it might lead to later down the track once you've paced yourself a little bit more.
It's just nice to think that even when everything looks horrendous and COVID and the world's going to end and you won't be able to pay rent, that there can be some good and some light from it.
Yeah, that's right. And well done on the pivoting side of things too with the book. I think that's a major achievement. There's some really good stories that have come out of COVID and messages of resilience and survival, which this industry is very good at. But well done on that. Great job.
Thanks. Thank you.
Fabulous. Now, does anyone else want to raise something to discuss, or we're 20 minutes to go? I'm happy to close it short for this week, because it is sort of just a general catch up and find out where we're at as we start 2021.
I've got one thing to bring up, particularly in a small forum. Those of you that follow things like the Leader Facebook pages and stuff will notice that I'm stirring the pot re wages and conditions, fairly seriously. Mm-hmm. I'm getting some interesting. It's quite interesting to see that most of the leaders think I'm actually a leader and not a business owner, which is what I am. I've been a leader since I was a Boy Scout, and so I lead in the field. I might add that what I intend to do this year is to nail all of those things that we've been procrastinating about, as organisations or as an industry for the last 20 years, and saying we're going to do it one day. And I'm only starting with wages and conditions, and I'm not accepting things like, let's have a committee, we'll wait till we get funding and we'll discuss it, because that's what we've been doing for 20 years. I think we just got to do some of these things. Not look for excuses. Mm-hmm. For instance, in the pay and conditions, my general concept, and I'd much rather someone else took up the ball at some stage of the game. I'm just finding the elephant in the room. Mm-hmm. I'd rather by mid-year we should be saying this is what we should have a bit of an idea of. This is what a leader is worth. A definition of a leader. So camps, not-for-profits. Yep. Yeah, some people are saying, it should be different wages across different scenarios. No, crap. If you're a leader, you're a leader. We should have a base rate, and then maybe you get paid more in certain conditions. And I reckon we should at least have an idea of what that looks like mid-year, what sort of, who pays for first aid, who provides equipment, any other things we need to discuss. Yeah. And then towards the end of the year, we should have at least started, if an award, for instance, is the way to go, we should have started to set the bloody thing up. Yeah. And to be making it happen, because otherwise we'll be talking about this in 2031. And that's just an example of the way I think we've got to approach the big strategic problems in insurance, organisational stability, getting people to understand that risk management is about business and other types of risk, all the things that we're not very good at, I think that we've been aware of. I think we've got to tackle those. And I'm quite happy I'm old, I'm bloody, no one can do anything to me, I can go and get a job in Afghanistan if I need, So, I'm cool.
So we use you as the decoy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I can be the decoy. What I really want is organisations to take up the banners. The Outdoor Council and others. But I guess my role might well be, or I see as an old bloody been around for far too long person, I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room, So if there are any elephants anyone is seeing that I'm not, send me an email. I'm happy to throw it out there and give everyone a hard time,
but you're right in saying that. I think a lot of people are afraid to put things forward, the fear of damaging either the reputation of who they work for or the activities that they're involved in. So you've made a valid point there, that there's not a lot of people that are throwing themselves out with comment because of other reasons.
Yeah, and I mean...
it's definitely started a great discussion, David. I'm enjoying reading all of the comments. It's and I think it loops in really nicely to the conversation Laurie and Outdoors New South Wales have started around the proposed outdoor leadership scheme, because it all ties back into that professionalism for our industry and setting a standard. Like I've been involved for a bit over 10 years, and I just feel like horrified that pay rates haven't changed in that time. Like that, the daily rate that was offered to me as I started, that's still the going thing it's just not okay.
And just as I actually pay the sort of level that I believe we should be paid. I mean, I don't make much money. It certainly affects my bottom line, but I'm quite willing to show that it can be done. Not that we should do it, and yet that's the way I was brought up. At the end of the day, my background sort of has that sort of thing. I think that I think we are our own worst enemies in many ways, in that we, instead of looking for the way we can achieve something, just like everybody, every business, we sit on our past and we say, what are the problems? What are the obstacles? So instead of looking at the advantages and just pushing through and the obstacles disappear, we sometimes look at things the wrong way. And I don't think there are any great obstacles at all to paying better, personally. I think we could do it. We could do it tomorrow across the whole industry. Some would struggle. We'll lose some businesses, but we're going to lose businesses all the time anyway.
But you're right in saying, Dave, it's a business decision, and the business needs to adjust with that decision. It's not something you just leave everything at the same rates and pay more. It's certainly not the way it works. But it's a discussion that needs to be had. I don't know if you guys noticed the image I had on the opening screen when you joined. I'll share it again so you can see it. But it goes exactly to what Dave's saying. I said we need to rise above the clouds and really look at the big pictures before we descend and then start working on them, is really where I was coming from with that image. That's a drone that I sent up through some fog. And that was
awesome.
I got. Yeah, so I thought that's a great one to start the year with, because it's exactly what you say, Dave. We've really got to see where the big pictures are. And stand on the balcony and see it from a different perspective, because sometimes we're just too in with it. And like you say, it's, yes, we've got to do that, but there's another priority over there. And something shiny gets your attention. So, no, I love it.
And I picked the pay one because there are some strategic things that are happening out in other government and other areas that, for instance, WorkSafe in Victoria has finally realised that low-paid people in positions of responsibility, such as in the hotel quarantine and the elderly citizen stuff, were the main cause of a lot of the incidents that happened here and elsewhere, particularly in Victoria. But they're actually going to start looking at, are we paying at an appropriate level? Not whether you're paying to an award, but if with the duties of the individual, are we paying to appropriate level? And if we're not, that could be something that WorkSafe in various states could nail you, or the coroner could nail you on. So I think that, it's a good time for us to be looking at our world. The pay and conditions then flows on to yeah, what we charge, the equipment we use, yeah, a whole range of other things, you know, insurance. Even in insurance companies are worried about low-paid leaders, yeah, who probably don't then have competency or interest increases the insurance.
Yeah. I know you and I discussed it, Dave, but what do you see as the next steps?
Well, currently what I'm doing is trying to get as much conversation as I have. So those that are following me on the various things, on all of those main Facebook pages, if there's any others that we can post stuff on, push it on. But what I do is every now and again, I'll throw another discussion point in. Yeah. So I'd like to gather as much information as I can. I'm not getting much comment from businesses. I know there's the thing in, and a lot of them are sort of going to be starting back up. I know there's that big thing that's being run by Outdoor Council coming up as well, later on. But I think before that, if we can get as much information and as much participation, from people, and that then gives whatever committee is going to look at pay and conditions in May or whenever that is, it gives them some, they don't have to start chasing it. We've already got it,
Yeah, fabulous. I asked that because I thought with the leader program that Kelly mentioned, that's really gained, as everyone knows, a lot of momentum and discussion, pretty much 50-50, 50 going, no, we cannot go down this path, and 50 going, yes, this is perfect. So now that's resolved in some passionate people going, I want to put my hand up and help, which is great. So now we're taking that group and then we're saying, right, okay, now we need to discuss this as a group on refining exactly what the issues are and what the solutions are. So maybe, Dave, this could be an opportunity to put this into that mix, but I'm conscious I don't want to muddy the waters too much and keep focused on the outcomes that are relevant, but it might be perfect.
Yeah, I think a good starting point, and I'm not quite, that we probably like to do now is, for instance, camps are saying we don't use outdoor leaders for all of our, high ropes and everything. We use a recreational assistant or something out of the bloody, some other weird award, which is cheaper, of course, And I'm going, nah, they're an outdoor leader, but maybe we need to define what an outdoor leader is. Some outdoor leaders work inside. If you're a cave leader or you're a leader at a climbing gym, you're actually working inside. Okay, indoors. So it'd be good to come up with a definition, a clear definition of what an outdoor leader's roles and responsibilities are, and where we see all those leaders. I mean, a scout leader, if they take people bushwalking as an outdoor leader, what are all the different parts of our outdoor world that actually use leaders? Now, not all of them are going to get paid. But I think that's probably the starting point. Is just getting that who are, where are, what do they do? That could be. I don't think it's that hard, but I don't think anyone's ever done it.
The AAAS has got a bit of a definition in there, if I remember correctly. Is that right?
There are things such as that. Then you get organisations, like say Bushwalking Australia, and that refuse to comply. Even read the AAAS. And they're out there, and I don't know. Who else is out there? A lot of camps probably aren't even aware that it exists, for instance.
So that might be a bit of an answer as well to getting a bit of consistency. But I mean, initially it's what is an outdoor leader and what do they do? Then we can look at all the different support systems. How do we train them? How do we pay them? If necessary, how do we protect them if things go wrong? Because they've got a duty of care and can quite easily end up in court after a coronial report as individuals. That's some really good points. Anyone have any comment on any of this? Sorry, I've been busy jumping in.
I think it's a really good point, and it does lead into all of those other issues about insurance, about skills, about retention. And if you look at, say, a big organisation or even any organisation, once you're turning over staff a lot, the cost to turn over staff is phenomenal, because then you have to retrain, you have to get that skill back. You lose all of that that cultural and institutional knowledge every time you turn over a staff member. So it's all of those hidden costs that people aren't building into their business, that there's that disconnect. And if I look at some of the, I think I went for an interview once as the state manager for an outdoor company in Victoria, actually. And then I didn't take the interview because I looked at the amount that they were going to pay, and I just thought, that's not even close. That's not even in the ballpark. I may as well go back and just do classroom teaching, because it wasn't in line, as David's been saying, and many people are saying, it's not in line with the level of risk that you're taking on and the level of responsibility that you have over students, over staff, over whole complex programs. So I think it's a really good way that we can really progress our industry and help professionalise that, or build that awareness of the professional nature of this industry as well.
Yeah, I think you're dead right on that, Dave. It's that professionalism, and I remember, I won't mention names since we're recording, but I remember a politician saying to me the reason why a certain local government couldn't do anything, he said, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So, you know, it's very much along the lines of, you know, we're running risk in other areas by paying that low rate.
It's interesting that Pete from our camps, in a chat about this subject, and he's very on side with this, I might add, with the pay and conditions of leaders. We're only starting with leaders. I'm starting at the leader at the bottom, and a suggestion he made, has been made by many before, is finding a similar world out in the mainstream to align ourselves to some degree too. In my discussions, I pulled up the infantry corporal, or the corporal, in the military, which is a junior leader, male or female, and they're in charge of 10 people, quite often in a high-risk environment, So that's sort of, but you could then take that up and say that, if we example there, that a program manager might be a lieutenant, for instance, a young officer, and an organisational manager or section manager might be a captain or a major. Not for what they do, but just for sort of give us an idea of what is somebody else, and that's the beauty of that. It's a federal thing, so it's across state borders. But something like that could give us, and there might be other examples I don't know about, could give us an example. What should we pay these people? What should we be paying the CEO of our peak bodies? We probably pay the most of them less than we pay our leaders.
Exactly. Yeah, no, so true. Fabulous. Callie, what happens with state government? And because your award is a state government award, isn't it? So it's, oh, hold on, you're muted.
We have a program officers award, and I think Office of Sport and Sport and Rec centres are a really good example of what fair and good working conditions and pay achieve. This has been a really interesting experience since I joined here. People stay. Like, I've got a colleague that has worked as a program officer for 20 years, and there are a number of people in our organisation, and they start at Sport and Rec and they stay because it's good work, the conditions are good, and the money is good. And it's great to be rewarded with a fair salary that's livable, and it's really great and matches the skills and expertise that the people have. And
do you know what the difference is between, say, a position that maybe David employs versus you employed, and what the different pay rates would be? Or we're probably not there knowing that stuff yet?
No, I'm not sure.
It'd be interesting to see, because that'll give a definite, okay.
But that could be a good comparison. You could throw that award into the mix to look at too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, because there's quite detail about working conditions and responsibility in that award.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff. Wow, I've got my year set up for me. Fabulous. Any other thoughts, guys, before we depart from our first Connected Share of the Year, number 34? No. Oh, good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Look at that, 2 minutes to go. Give you a 2-minute early mark. And yeah, thanks again for joining us. And hopefully we'll see you on other Fridays as you come in anytime, any week at 10 o'clock. We'll be here. Hopefully I'll have a schedule of different topics that'll come out probably in February at this stage. And then that way, if there's something of interest that you think others might be involved in, please send it amongst your groups and get people involved. But other than that, thank you so much for your engagement. And we'll, if you're interested, we're having happy hour, aren't we, Dave? Happy hour today. Our happy hours are back.
Is that tonight? I can't remember.
Yes, tonight. Yep, 4 o'clock. So, and that's just a general whinge idea fest, any discussion that's not recorded, and yeah, we have a bit of fun there too, and come up with some crazy ideas, which no doubt some of them might come to fruition this year by the sounds of it. So join us at 4 if you're interested. But other than that, see you guys soon.
Excellent. Thank you. See you later.